In today's video, I'm going to go over why I switched to using USB-C power delivery to power every device I use when I'm traveling more for fun and less for work. Reason being is when you're traveling and you need to bring big chargers like this or like this, they start adding up in your bulk. When you're traveling, every little thing you bring adds to the overall weight of your bag. So by switching to USB-C power delivery, I've been able to power cameras like my EOS R7, my EOS R6 that we're using to film right now, but even my RED Komodo is now powered off of power delivery again when I'm traveling for fun. Now you're going to notice today we're going to talk a lot about a few specific brands, especially Anker. Another one's going to be ZITAY, and they did not sponsor today's video. However, there is a sponsor of today's video, and that is going to be Moman, who actually sent out this V-mount battery to talk about in today's review. Now what's cool about the Moman V-mount battery is it's a 99 watt-hour battery that you can bring a bunch of them if you're traveling abroad, going on a plane, because it's under the 100 watt-hour requirement. What makes the Moman battery stand out compared to a lot of the other batteries I have like Core SWX and whatnot is number one going to be the price. You can pick up one of these Moman batteries for around $120 if you have a Prime account on Amazon. And then the other thing too, besides the size of this battery, because it is pretty small, is its power outputs. This Moman battery actually has two D-tap outs, one on each side, and then it also has two USBA outs here on the top. Now you may have noticed there's no USB-C power delivery on this V-mount battery, and that's something that not a lot of manufacturers are doing right now, but there's a device we'll talk in a little bit that actually makes every V-mount battery work with USB-C power delivery. First, we're going to go over how each device specifically charges over USB-C power delivery. Some are pretty intuitive, some aren't. You need extra accessories. And then we're going to go over each charger I use for each specific device. We're going to go over the EOS R7 first because I have it in hand, and what's cool about the EOS R7 is it actually has a USB-C on the side of the camera, and it does support power delivery. So whether you want to hook the camera up directly to a power delivery source, or you want to hook it up to a battery like a V-mount battery or a MPF battery plate like I'm actually using to power the EOS R6 right now, these cameras not only support charging, but they can actually be powered via power delivery. The only drawback is you actually need to have a battery, an LPE6 battery, in the camera at all times, because even though these cameras do charge over power delivery, they still use a little bit of battery power, so it's required that you have a battery with a little bit of power in them. Now, if you turn the camera off, it will actually charge the battery. While you're using the camera, it will keep the camera powered on, and it slowly uses the battery percentage. Essentially, I just need one fully charged battery to do a whole full 8-hour shooting day, so it's not the biggest of deals, but it is worth noting. Now, I actually don't bring an LPE6 charger with me at all anymore for these cameras. I pretty much just charge the batteries, whether it's the LPE6 batteries through the USB-C slot, or I'm just powering the camera through whatever external battery I'm using via a USB-C power delivery. Now for the EOS R6, it's the exact same method, so I'm not going to grab the camera off the tripod. I do the exact same thing through that camera's USB-C port as well. It also uses the same LPE6 battery as the R7, which is part of the reason why I bought the R7, as I can use a lot of the same accessories with both cameras. The next is going to be the DJI Mini 3 Pro. Now, it's one of the reasons I got this drone, because this drone actually supports not just USB-C here on the back, but USB-C power delivery up to 30 watts, which is really great because one thing you're going to notice is pretty much everything I talk about today really only needs up to 30 watts of power delivery, which actually keeps your power delivery chargers very small. So this drone, really easy to power, charges in less than an hour over a 30-watt power delivery device. It's great because not only do I need a small charger to fully power this thing, but I could also use these little 30-watt car chargers, and I can use little 30-watt power banks to fully charge the drone in a short period of time, which allows me to only have to bring 2 batteries with me at most places, just so I have enough batteries to keep going, but I don't have to bring like 8 batteries with me to be in the air all day. I could bring little power banks, I could bring these little chargers. It's fairly easy to keep this thing charged all day, and I'm really happy that DJI went with power delivery. Now, I will say it's not only special to the DJI Mini 3 Pro. I know that the DJI Air 2S can be charged over USB-C power delivery, and I think most of their new drones going forward will probably have that ability, but it's cool that we're seeing more and more cameras being able to be powered via power delivery. Now, the last camera we're going to talk about today that I charge with power delivery is one of those that you need little devices to do so. And it's going to be the RED Komodo, because the RED Komodo does not have any USB-Cs innately on the camera. You can get a little link adapter that goes here on the top, but even though that provides USB-C connectivity for this camera, you can't charge via power delivery. So with the RED Komodo, there are two options to charge this camera over power delivery. Now, when you're using V-mount power to power the RED Komodo, you'll notice that V-mount batteries like the Moman 99 watt right here actually don't have USB-C. And that's where this cool little device from ZITAY comes in. What this device lets you do is it hooks up to the D-tap that functions not only as a power out but a power in on most V-mount batteries. You hook it up into the battery, and first thing you'll notice is that a little light comes on right here. And voila. Once you plug this device in, you can use a minimum of a 30 watt charger and a maximum of a 60 watt charger. Now, a 60 watt charger will charge your V-mount battery faster. With the 30 watt, it takes around 3.5 to 4 hours to charge this battery, so I know it's a long time, but it is great when you're using it in the field. And again, I do this for travel purposes, not for actual gigs, so I'm not going to use this to charge my V-mount battery on gigs. It's just not fast enough. But overnight, if I'm just bringing one V-mount battery with me to power the Komodo, it's really not that big of a deal. I don't know how fast this battery charges at 60 watt. I don't currently own any 60 watt chargers. The highest wattage charger I have is a 45 watt, and I'll go over why in a second, because other than the V-mount batteries, every device I use has a maximum of actually 30 watt. But having this is really great because not only can you charge your V-mount batteries over power delivery, but when it's plugged in, it will also make that D-tap out a power delivery out. So you can charge things like your laptop or your phone or pretty much any device that has power delivery. So I could use these V-mount batteries to now easily charge my Canon cameras. I can use it to charge the DJI Mini 3 Pro. The opportunities are really endless, and this device really isn't too expensive. So since most V-mount batteries don't have USB-C in and out anyways, at least at this time here in August of 2022, I think this accessory is a must for filmmakers who are trying to be as minimalistic as possible while traveling. Now, I don't always use V-mount power. As you see on the RED Komodo right here, I actually have it hooked up to use the BP batteries that you see on the back. Now, I will say this is going to be a little bit of a cop-out because currently at this point in time, there are no USB-C power delivery chargers for these BP mount batteries. And I think it's because these things are pretty specialized. I mean, I think the Komodo is really the only modern camera that uses these batteries. So what I actually use to charge these batteries while I'm traveling, instead of, this really big bulky charger, which isn't too big, but again, it's big enough to make a difference, I actually use this thin little charger right here from Castar. Now, it does use USB-C. From the front right here, it actually has a USB-C in, and it also has a micro USB in. Now, it charges very slow, so it's definitely not power delivery. You're pretty much getting a 5-volt in. Pretty much to charge these batteries to full, using this charger, it takes overnight. It takes almost 8 hours, so it's not the most ideal situation. But again, I'm powering and charging all these cameras over USB-C specifically when I'm traveling for non-professional work, because I'm not going to be shooting all day, so it doesn't necessarily matter if it takes all night for these things to charge, because even though I may only have 3 hours of power using 2 of these, I'm probably not going to be shooting for more than 3 hours if I'm just filming for fun. Now, the last device that I use that uses power delivery is my MacBook Air, which I actually have right here. Now, MacBook Air, really small. It's pretty much the most compact laptop in Apple's lineup right now, and it charges using USB-C power delivery 30 watt. So it uses the lightest power consumption out of all of the laptops from Apple's lineup right now. So an added benefit to having the MacBook Air is that I can keep using 30-watt power delivery for all of my devices, even with this device right here that can go up to 60 watt. I'll just use 30-watt chargers. Now let's get into the chargers that I use and why I use them. So here is the Anker 45-watt charger. Here is an Anker 20-watt charger. I use a mixture of these two kinds of chargers because, number one, they're very affordable. They're also extremely small. I mean, look how small this 45-watt power delivery is. It also folds up. You have the little prongs here. They fold in. They also fold in on the 20-watt. Now, you may be asking yourself, if I keep saying I'm using 30-watt only on all of my cameras, why did I get this 45-watt charger? The reason being is, weirdly enough from Anker, they're 30-watt chargers that are slightly smaller than this, although not much smaller. They actually don't have their prongs go into the body, and I like this whole functionality because, number one, it prevents these prongs from scratching up a lot of gear that they're in the bag with. Number two, it also keeps them a lot more portable. So I literally only got the 45-watt because of its portability. I didn't need the extra 15 watts. I was perfectly happy with the 30 watts. Now, just to give you an example of how small this 45-watt is, here is the 30-watt charger from Apple. It's still not that big, and I bring it around with me a decent amount, but compared to the 45-watt, 45 watts like almost a quarter of the size. So as you can see, Anker has done a really good job at giving you a lot of power for not only a really small package, but a really great price. So that's why I've stuck with Anker. They don't sponsor me. They definitely didn't sponsor today's video, but just having a bunch of these in my bag, I can power a bunch of devices at once and not have to weigh down my bag with a bunch of different chargers. So that's one of the big reasons that I've simplified my bag, just bringing a bunch of these. And then also, when it comes to the cords, I only have to bring a few of these USB-C to USB-C power delivery cords, and it pretty much covers me for all of my cameras, my laptop, etc. And again, I'm not filling my bag with a lot of accessories. Pretty much everything I need to power my laptop, cameras, and whatnot fit in this bag, including things like my USB-C external hard drive from Samsung right here. I've also got, for instance, my CFast card reader for the RED Komodo. I've just got a ton of accessories in this little bag that just keeps me sorted while I'm traveling, and I don't have to bring a lot of different chargers like this and this. And as you can see, it adds up. I mean, right here, this V-mount charger is bigger than my DJI Mini 3 Pro, just to give you an example. So back in the day, I would have to make a decision where, do I want to bring something like a V-mount or do I want to bring my drone? And now I really don't have to make that decision anymore because my V-mount charger now went from this size to this size. See where I'm getting at? On top of that, I always can bring these little 30-watt power delivery power banks, and they're not really that expensive. This one I got for sale on Amazon for like 15 bucks. And so I would recommend, if you're traveling and if you think you're going to be out all day, it is nice to keep at least one of these in your bag just for emergencies, whether you're going to be powering your phone or you want an extra battery or two to fly your drone and you're not going to be going back to your hotel or wherever you're staying at. It just keeps you in the air, or it keeps you going. And then last, I spoke about this a little bit in the beginning of the video. Here's the last charger I use, and this is actually a car charger. You put this in your little cigarette lighter port, and it gives you USB-C power delivery. And there's a bunch of different ones. The reason I chose this one specifically is on the top, it gives you a 30-watt USB-C power delivery out, and then the bottom, it gives you a USBA quick charge port. Another thing I use this for is when I'm going from location to location with my Mini 3 Pro, I can charge the Mini 3 Pro pretty much on the way to any spot. And again, it keeps me flying all day without having to have a bunch of batteries. So by moving all of my camera gear to USB-C power delivery, it has kept my not only travel bag really small and light, but it also just makes things easier because I don't have to remember to pack a bunch of different chargers to power all of my gear. Even if I forget one cord or one charger, I'm still okay. I can still charge everything. And then the beauty is, as long as I have a lot of this gear set up right, If I didn't bring enough or I need to buy more, buying USB-C power delivery while you're on the go is a lot easier than buying something like a V-mount charger. You can go to Best Buy, Walmart, Target, wherever, and just pick up these power delivery chargers pretty much at any store now, so you won't really run into an issue of power while you're on your trip. So I hope I can help shed some light on why I use USB-C power delivery while I'm traveling. It just keeps my whole kit nice and compact. Again, I don't really use this when I'm traveling for professional work just because it doesn't necessarily charge everything fast enough, especially when I'm shooting with the Komodo on V-mount batteries. A lot of the times I'm running with 3 or 4 V-mount batteries, so I need to be able to charge those pretty quick. And this battery charger from Core obviously charges each V-mount much quicker. I think it charges my 98 Core V-mounts in like an hour-ish. So it's obviously a lot quicker, and then I can charge 2 at once. So there are still absolutely reasons why you'd want to use the original chargers, as bulky as they are. And believe it or not, this is actually not bulky compared to a lot of other V-mount chargers I've had. It's just bulky for fun traveling purposes. So if you have any questions about my use of USB-C and power delivery, or you have any ideas for future videos you'd want to see me talking about it, please feel free to ask in the comments below. And if you got knowledge and value out of today's video, please make sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Until next time, my name's Geoff Fagien. Thank you for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next video.